Against the oppression of man's obsession to control things. Look at the long line of make-believe kings, and the Lord of the Flies wants you to kiss his ring. Follow new rules with invisible strings and become a puppet in a diabolical scheme. How do good men become a part of the regime? They don't believe in resistance.
You are listening to the Atheist Antidote Show.
Vous écoutez l'émission d'Antidote Athée.
كنا تستمع إلى أثار ترياق الملحد.
Che si sta ascoltando lo show Antidoto a te.
You are listening to the Atheist Antidote Show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brock Lawley. I am the Atheist Antidote on YouTube. It's going to be a little rehashing because I have touched on this topic before, but I'm just getting pummeled in social media concerning this common misunderstanding, and it's a very frustrating one for me, but I do realize you got to get in the trenches to get your hands dirty when starting from the foundation by way of educating people to think for themselves and not swallow propaganda. As a Christian, so many people get confused when you're also a conservative. Because, quite frankly, they went to college, they went through these propaganda mills that we call public high schools, and let's just be honest, they drank the mother's milk. They straight drank it, or they had the little regurgitated worms upchucked into their mouth, as little chicklings or whatever, and that's all they know. They just know liberal good, liberal kind, liberal charitable, conservative bad, conservative evil, conservative greedy. That's the framework in which they think. And so this whole conservative Christian thing just throws them for a loop. Jesus was a socialist. You'll hear this pablum on a regular basis. I got this cat Richard on my Facebook who's got his head so far up the Democratic butt that he literally thinks that the Obama speeches transcribed are the holy text. And so often, when you find somebody claiming conservative politics, they're on their heels. They're defending themselves by way of not being a scumbag. I refuse to do that. There's absolutely no factual evidence to support that whatsoever. That's all emotive. And here's where the confusion, I'll put my finger right on the pulse of the confusion. The left views the state very differently than the right views the state. Now, that's not even a workable paradigm anymore either, because I by no means consider myself to be a Republican. We should say it like this. The leftist views the state as their personal charity. In other words, they go into the voting booth, they pull down the lever for the donkeys, for the DNC, and they're boom, hocus pocus, they're good people. You know what I mean? They didn't volunteer any time, they didn't give any money out of their wallet, on and on and on. Just the people that they associate with are considered, based on, I have no idea what. Certainly not results, certainly not the ramifications of legislation onward and upward, but just because they're told that by their Marxist professor. So then vicariously, they're sort of under the umbrella of charity. And the flip side of that coin would be me. I go in, I vote for a more conservative candidate, and immediately I'm Mr. Greedy. Now, here's the irony of the situation. I could have just given a third of my income, volunteered half of my time, given blood every other month, adopted orphans, none of which matters. You see what I'm saying? None of that matters. That's not how one deems oneself charitable or good or kind. No, it's whether or not you got the right politics. It's whether or not you're down with Barack Obama or not. You see the difference here? And the conservatives saying, hogwash. Whether you are kind, charitable, whether you care about the poor, completely has everything to do with whether you give to the poor, whether you volunteer time to the needy, whether you help the orphan and the widow. Do you understand the difference? This goodness is not vicariously given to you osmosis style because you have the right politics. And despite the nonsense you're hearing, conservatives outgive liberals in every testable way. Now their pushback is going to be, well, tithes don't count. You guys give money to the church and call it tithes. And, that doesn't count. Well, I have no idea why that doesn't count, first of all. They never go as far as to explain why that doesn't count. because the church does enormous good in communities. And that's just a fact like gravity also. But, whatever. Let's just take their weird claptrap verbatim. And let's say the tithes don't count. Conservatives still give more than liberals do, even when you remove the tithe, which is an astounding fact that goes unnoticed and unreported because it doesn't fit into the leftist infrastructure of thinking. Conservatives are far more charitable. And that's actual charity. That's like roll up the sleeves, fingers under the dirt under the fingernails charity. The doing, not the speaking. So once again, conservatism does not equate non-caring or non-charitable. Just the opposite in reality. Like so many other things when actually examined under the lens of reality. Thank you for listening. You are listening to the Atheist Antidote podcast.
You are listening to the Atheist Antidote Show.